So I come over to, hey, Michelle, either put it on a station and everybody will understand it, or or turn it off, or. And then he just left. He just did. He must have been high or something. And then the other guy that really made it was Marcel Duchamp, who said things, but at the beginning I didn't understand them either. But then I got to learn from him, read why he was doing these things, and then all of a sudden again became a person that I follow very close. And I love his theory that anything can become a work of art if an artist decides it's a work of art. And then there were the groups, like minimalist, ready-mades, conceptualists, site-specific, Dada. I love Dadas. But they are artists that were part of that movement. But the movement was actually what I follow. Like the Dadas, they just decided that they would, destroy everything that the Academy told them to do. So they would create poems by throwing a bunch of letters up in the air, and the ones that came up, those are the ones they used to do poems, and didn't say anything. A friend of mine that was a Dadaist told me to be his rhythm section in a presentation that he was doing, and I went over there with a box and I was just banging on this thing, and he was supposed to do 45 minutes of a song that he had created, I guess, and it was nothing but da 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 for 45 minutes. And then all of a sudden the gallery owner came over and told him that he had to cut the thing off for about 10 minutes. After all that time, and he went ballistic. He ruined his piece. So how can you not love a movement like that?
What was his name?
Buster Cleveland. He's dead now, unfortunately. But we got to understand, his thing was Dada is nothing and Dada is everything. So that was his thing. So I try to do things that at least is humoristic, So when I do something that doesn't make any sense, and then I just try to do something with it that that makes you laugh, something like that. Yeah. And then the conceptualists, they say that the concept is the only thing that matters. The object doesn't matter, and everything is a concept. The minimalists, they just said that they wanted to take everything that has to do with interest and talent and whatever in any piece to work. And so they got a rock and that's it. And not because it looked like anything, or because it was funny, or because it was beautiful or ugly, or it was just a rock. And I say, it's art, is art. Like we're surrounded by it. Look, rocks. We just don't see it like that. But this was done with rocks. Except that he would present, or they would present just a rock. And so out of all those people, to tell you that they all influenced me, but none in particular, it was just part of the group. And since I am such an individualist, then I have picked from here and picked from there, and then what I do is have something to say about it. Not just look at yourself in the mirror for 3 days, which is some conceptualists did. I didn't see the sandwich in that. I mean the ham in that sandwich. Just doing that. At least I try to do something that shows that I have talent, or that I have an idea behind it. So that's how I do my art. like calling myself the best artist. It's just.
Yeah, I guess if it's French, maybe the art isn't.
When you were first starting out as an artist on your own, after the art director and the magazines, you had your studio, you started producing art on your own, you were in your 20s.
Oh, what 30s?
30s.
Yeah.
Were there any paintings done by any other artists that you really liked?
During those times. Wow, they were. I don't know, they were. Not really, because if the ones that I liked were mostly illustrators. Like I was Frank Frazetta that did all these beautiful paintings, that I met through the magazine, because they would give me this. And there was Norman Rockwell. I mean, that guy. I take my hat off to that guy. I mean, that is. And they didn't even see. This is how the system is. They didn't recognize him as an artist. He was an illustrator, something that. And then you got these ridiculous artists who say that I don't do paintings to match anybody's couch. Baloney, that's what you're doing. At the very least, you're matching this person's taste. Otherwise, they won't buy your painting. So you always have to please someone in whatever you do. And one of my theories is that since you cannot please everyone, then you cannot insult everyone either. Someone's going to like what you do. So it goes both ways. And I just create the best way that I describe myself is I first paint a portrait, and then I go around looking for somebody that looks like the portrait, because I do it in the spirit of the moment. I get the inspiration, and I get a piece of paper, and I just do it, and I just work it out, and maybe I didn't like it.
Why do you then look for somebody if you've already painted a portrait?
Well, because it's a way of describing it's not really how I do it. It's the way of describing the kind of painting that I do something, and then that's it, it's done. But then I do it backwards. Like most people have to look at a person and then do a portrait. I can't do that. I cannot even copy myself. I do something once, and I try to do it again, only smaller or a little bit bigger, and it doesn't come out. It doesn't have the spontaneity that I had before.
What about the murals?
The murals were on the spot. The letters, said I am the best artist, and then somebody would come in, which they did, with a roller, and they painted the whole thing green. So then I had to go back there and then just paint the whole thing again, all over. But what I did then, I put lines that on the top and in the bottom, you could follow them. And then when somebody did something that didn't obliterate the whole entire thing, all I had to do was to follow the lines. And then the letters would appear. And then it worked on my benefit, because the paint that they used was that I left on the lines. And I just painted the I am the best artist, and the lines remain in the background with all these beautiful colors that they put on it. So that made him even more mad or something, because that was the situation.
Would you agree that even the murals that you went back to touch up were different than the first one you painted?
Oh yeah, because there were certain lines that they have touched, like maybe the P was disfigured somehow. There was one that they wrote, "You're the best mayonnaise." I am the best mayonnaise. Or another one is, "I am the best fartist." So they would get the letters and they would eliminate certain parts of it, and they put so. In order for me to bring that thing to the same distance, you could read very fast. It took more time, but it was such a great thing that somebody would go through the problem of just transform the word best into pest and then artist into fartist. You know, like it was just such a. I was enjoying myself doing that, and I didn't mind.
Considering that you can't paint the same thing twice, do you think they were helping your art?
Well, no, because it's just graphics. You know, it's just straight lines. You know, like and it was. If you notice through the sequence, there are letters that are thinner than others, and you know they are expanded. And but when you see it as a total, it's not as it's not that bad. But if you examine the things, and then you see some errors or some, I don't call it errors, I just, you know, I call it whatever. So that was the.
Why did you decide to make the letters so tall?
Because in the beginning, I didn't want them to eliminate, you know, they would have to use a ladder or something to get it, because I had to use a ladder to do that. And this space that I had a frame, some sort of a frame, you know. So I wanted to utilize the whole entire thing, and anybody that wanted to deface it would have to be on a ladder or something like that. So that was the reason why I did it, you know, like that. The way I got it, I just went to the owner of the building, of the factory, who happened to be owner of the building, and I said, look, I see that you spend time erasing all those posters that I put in there and the graffiti, and it would look bad. So his worker had to come in and scrape all that thing. And I said, I tell you what, I clean it up. I make a mural in it. You don't have to pay me anything. And if you don't like what I'm doing, you tell me to stop, and I stop, no questions asked. And I'll sign anything on that. And the only thing that I want is for you to sign a letter saying that you gave me permission to do this. In case the police, because I'm going to do it during the day, so I don't want to be arrested. So he says, okay, and that's it. He couldn't believe it. He kept on saying, are you sure you don't want it? Why do you want it? What are you going to get out of it? He kept on asking me. He's a very old man, you know, business guy, you know. And then it was, how do you call it, fun doing it, because he was always calling me up. Hey, Rene, they painted your thing, man. You know. So I would go right away, because I lived right around the block, and I would paint the thing back again too. So they did it in the middle of the night. But 8 o'clock the morning after, it was back to the game, like it didn't touch it. Even better, because maybe they used some colors that I didn't have. You know.
So it was a competition at times.
Sort of a competition, but when you're the best, you have no competition. I'm sorry. It sounds bad.
So you were going to strike them out.
Yes, I mean, that was it. That was, you know, like in baseball.
And they were going to strike you out, but you were striking them out.
The only thing that they had was to confront me. But they didn't do it, because I had the arguments that I had with them at some time was, you know, I said, hey, are you the best artist? Because they said, we'll give you the right to call yourself the best artist, you know. What kind of crap is this? So I said, oh, I'm sorry, are you the best artist? Because I don't want to be using your name. I don't want to be using your title or something like that. No, I'm not. I said, well, then I am. Yeah, well, yeah. And then they kept on going like that, and I had fights, and I had, you know, big, serious arguments. And they eventually, you know, if they really got me mad, I would say, because I'm an asshole. If I didn't have the time to be arguing or something like that, because I'm an asshole. Yeah, you are. Yeah, I already said it. I am. thank you for agreeing with me. You know. So that was it. They realized. All the time I would say, oh, I'm sorry, man. I just didn't know that you were the best artist because I just, I don't know what came up with me. But, you know, what is your name? Because what I'll do is I'll sign it with your name. Do you want, every time that I did this thing, can I call you and you sign it? You know, like, or you want to do it yourself? You know, like. So they realized that they were just stupid.
Tell me about the man who had the can of mace.
Oh, being that I was raised in such a tough neighborhood when I was a little kid, you can tell, you can read people when they are just looking for a confrontation or they are doing something, you know, and you might as well leave them alone because you don't want to provoke them. You know? And I was painting my mural across the street where I live, and he came over to me and told me that I was ruining